For engineering economy, we have two kinds of general interest. Yung simple interest na ang nag-i-interest is only the principal. And the other is the compound wherein the interest also earns interest together with the principal. So, dito sa simple, principal lang ang nag-i-interest. Dito, pati interest nag-i-interest. So, it means mas malaki ang interest, no? Okay. Now, sa simple interest, we have I, the interest earned is the principal times I times N, ipin, no? Isipin nyo lang yung pera, kinagat ng ipin, no? So, ang tatandaan nyo dito, yung I saka N, dapat parehas ang unit. Kung ito, number of periods, ito, interest rate per period yan. Pag sinabi mong rate, per unit time. Kung ito months, dapat ito per month. Kung ito years, dapat ito per year. Kung ito ay quarter, dapat ito per quarter. Pag ang unit ng I hindi binigay sa atin, automatic yan. It is automatically understood to be per year. Maliwanag. So that must be automatically be understood. Okay? So, yung future amount is the principal plus the interest, but the interest is ipin. So, if we factor out P, this would P times 1 plus I times N. Okay? Now, pag masdan nyo yung form, P times 1 plus IN, dito sa compound, naging 1 plus I raised to N. Yung N dito, naging exponent lang. No? So, kung meron kang principal amount P or present amount, pag dinala mo yan sa future after n periods, considering interest of interest, interest of principal, that would sum up to F is P 1 plus I raised to N. Ulitin ko, pagmasdan nyo, eto iakyat mo lang doon, eto na yan. So kung meron ka namang annuities, no? Eto yung first at the end of first period, and at the end of n periods, there will be n annuities, no? Yung future amount is A times this quantity. Parang ito lang. Kopyahin mo lang to, then add minus 1 over I. You get it? Kuha. Okay. Kung meron ka naman triangular payment or uniform gradient, take note of this. The time 0 is here. At the end of first period, no payment. Dito ang payment is time 0. Dito, end of first year. Ito, end of second period. Okay? So, nag-step sila, no? So, kung ito ay G, then 2G, 3G, so on and so forth. Every year, nag-i-increase ng G. You follow? Kuha nyo. Pero, ang pagbilang ng time, simula dito, ito yung time 0, kasama sa bilang yung end of first period, kahit walang payment doon. Naintindihan? So, parang concentrated, rectangular, triangular. Okay? So, yung future amount nito is equal to G. Ito. Kopyahin mo lang to. Then, minus N over I. So, tandaan ha. 1 plus I raised to N. Kopya. Minus 1 over I. Kopya. Minus N over I. No? Pakopya-kopya lang. Kayang-kaya. Di ba? Okay. So, yun yung multiplier nito. Okay? Tapos, ang multiplier nila pag. So, pag times this, kopya, minus 1 over I, kopya, minus N over I. Ang tatandaan nyo sa units nito, yung N, yung I, saka yung frequency ng A or G, dapat parehas. Pag yung A mo, annual payments, dapat yung N mo, annuals or years, etong I, per year, compounded yearly. Dito, may compounding period. Dito, per period lang, ha? Okay? Now, so, kapag ka yung A mo, monthly payments, dapat eto months, yung I mo, per month, compounded monthly. Pag yung unit ng I hindi ibinigay, understood yan na per year, ha? Maliwanag tayo. Okay. So, ulitin ko ha. Pag yung unit ng I hindi binigay, per year yan, tapos yung compounding period dapat ibigay. pag hindi binigay yung compounding period, compounded yearly din yan. Maliwanag tayo? Okay. So, yun yung tatandaan dito. So, let us try to solve yung ating first situation, first problem. Ito yan. Okay? Ang sabi sa atin dito, the amount of 50,000 was deposited in the bank at a rate of 7.5% per annum for 5 years, which is the simple interest at the end of 5 years. So, let us try to solve that. Okay. Now, so dito, yung F natin is equal to P times 1 plus I raised to N. Pero ang hinahanap lang naman, interest. So, we use ipin. So, yung interest is equal to P times I times N. So, our principal is 50,000. Our I is 7.5%. In decimal, that is 0.075 per year. So, this is per year times N in years. So, this is 5 years. So, this will cancel. So, kapag ka sinolve mo to, your simple interest will be equal to 18,750 pesos. Okay? Ito yung ating simple interest. Kuha niya? Now, sa number 2, ang hinahanap sa atin dito is we are asked here to find the compound interest. So, this time, we are asked to find the compound interest at the end of 5 years. So, paano natin sosolvin yon? Ganito. Remember that future is P plus I. Kahit simple interest to, pwede yan. General formula man to. Yung interest is future minus principal, no? So, isosolve lang natin yung F. Yung F natin dito is equal to P times 1 plus I, imbis na times N, raised to N, no? Okay? Dito, multiplier lang yung N. Dito, exponentiation, ha? Okay? So, this is going to be 50,000 times 1 plus I, but I is 7.5%. So, plus 0.075 raised to 5. You calculate this, you'll get here the future amount of 50,000. And you will get that to be 71,781.50. Okay? Kuha? So, kung ma-minus mo dito yung principal, the interest is F minus P. So, it is 71,781.50 minus 50,000. So, you'll get here the interest, the compound interest to be equal to this minus this. It's 21,781.50. This is the compound interest. Kuha niya? Ngayon, ang tinatanong sa atin dito sa number 3, which is the difference between simple and compound interest? So, hinahanap yung difference nito. So, we just subtract. So, dito ko lang lagay, ha? So, therefore, dito, our difference, okay, number 3, yung I compound minus I, so, ito, yung difference in interest is 21,781.50 minus 18,750. So, this is going to be equal to, cancel na to, no? So, 21 minus 18, so that is 3,000, no? So, you have 3,000, and this must be 31, no? 3,000, tapos ito is 0, 31.50. So, ito yung difference in their interest. Naintindihan niya? Maliwanag. So, you just subtract this from this one. Maliwanag? Kuha niyo. Okay, sige. Kopya. In this particular problem, number 4, the sum of 1,000 pesos is invested or deposited for 8 years in a bank. Then after 8 years, that principal was withdrawn. So this is also 1,000. Now, the remaining balance is left in the bank dahil nag-earn naman ng interest. So pag withdraw nito, may natitirang interest. Now, that interest was left to grow for 8 more years. Another 8 years. So, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Diba? 8 plus 8 after 16 years. Ang tanong ngayon dito, after 16 years, if the effective annual interest rate is 5%, what will be the maximum withdrawable amount at the end of the 16th year? Okay? So, pag sinabi nating effective annual, that is per year, compounded yearly. Ha? Okay. So, ang gagawin lang natin dito, ang unknown dito, yung withdrawal. So, ilagay mo lang yung opposite side, no? Yung deposit, eto withdraw. Dapat yung withdrawal equivalent lang ng deposit. Pagka less than yung withdrawal mo, may matitirang pondo. Pagka nag-withdraw ka ng lagpas naman, hindi pwede, hindi ka papayagan, di ba? So, ang tinatanong dito yung maximum withdrawal, yung sakto, no? Walang balance na matitira. Kung sa bangko ba, close account, di ba? Okay, magkano daw yung pwedeng i-withdraw dito? Tawagin nating X. Ang gagawin mo lang dito, there are many ways to solve this, pero my favorite is the theory of equivalence. So, yung tinatawag kong future equivalence, ito. Yung future of deposit, bale, that is at the end of the 16th year, equals the future of withdrawal. At both at the end of 16th year. Okay? So, hindi pwedeng magkaiba, ha? So, kung idadala mo to sa future, eto bale yung future of deposit. Okay? Now, yung future ng withdrawal, tong future nitong 1,000 na to, eto yon, tawagin ko tong F1, tapos eto ay X. So, yung future ng withdrawal, this one is F1 plus X. So, etong future ng deposit, eto siya. So, di ba sabi natin, ang future amount is P times 1 plus I raised to N? So, yung F ng deposit dito, the present is 1,000 multiplied by 1 plus I, 0.05, that is 5%, per year compounded yearly, dapat yung N years. From here to here, there are 16 years. Yung F1 naman is future nitong 1,000 from here to here. So that is P 1,000 times 1 plus I 0.05 per year compounded yearly raised to N. Ano yung N? From here to here, 8 years. So this is plus X. One equation in terms of X will be able to solve X. And your X is going to be, computin natin. So this is going to be 705.42 or around 706 pesos. Nasundan niya? Theory of equivalence. Kuha? Okay, you may copy. Let us have this problem. How much do 10 to 2,000 pesos quarterly payments amount at present if interest rate is 10% compounded quarterly? No? Now, ang pinaka-technique lang dito, kung ito yung 2,000 payments, ito yung present equivalent, So, all we need to do is apply theory of equivalence. That is, if we bring this to the future, I will be using the extreme future, that is the end of 10 quarters, as my focal date. So, the equivalent of this is F of P equivalent. Well, this one, daling ko yan sa future, tawagin ko tong F of 2,000 annuities, no? So, by theory of equivalence, that is the future of PE equals the future of 2A. This one is present to future. We apply P times 1 plus I raised to N. Rn is 10 quarters, no? Is equal to future of annuity. This is A times 1 plus I raised to N, 10 quarters minus 1 over I. Now remember in the formula, since the frequency of A, these are quarterly payments, the frequency of our payments dictates the unit to be used. So, dapat our I must be per quarter compounded quarterly. And yung N natin must be quarters. Kaso ang I natin, 10% compounded quarterly. Wala na tayong problema sa compounding period. Kasi quarterly naman sila. Ang problema na lang natin ito. This one, 10%, walang binigay na per, that is understood to be per what? Year. So, yung I na binigay is 10% understood to be per year. Pero compounded quarterly, ha? Huwag nyong isipin na kapag ka dinivide nyo yan ng 4, automatic, pati ito mababago kung halimbawa compounded annually yan. Pag dinivide mo ng 4, hindi yung na-change. Ang na-change mo lang yung per. Pero ang compounding period, kung ano yung original, iyan pa rin yan, ha? So, this is 10% per year, year sa taas, year sa baba, year sa baba, year sa taas, quarter sa ibaba. 1 year is 4 quarters. Kaya nga, di ba makikita nyo sa book, dinidivide ng 4 pag quarter, by 2 pag semi-annual. Kuha niya? Or 12 ba if months, no? So, therefore, this is simply 10 over 4. So, this is 2.5% per quarter. Pero yung compounding period, yun pa rin. Compounded quarterly. So, consistent. Ito yung I na gagamitin natin. Naintindihan? So, substituting that here, you have P times 1 plus 0.025 raised to 10 is equal to A, 2,000 times 1 plus 0.025 raised to 10 minus 1, okay, all over I, 0.025. So, you calculate this. This is one equation in terms of P. You will be able to get P, and this is 17,504.13 pesos. So, this is the present equivalent of this 2,000 for 10 quarters. Nakuha niya? Just use theory of equivalence, saka kailangan lang alam mo yung principle sa interest rate and interest conversion. Kuha? Okay, you may copy. What is a perpetuity? Perpetuity is a coin word for perpetual or infinite annuities. For example, you deposit a fund of P, after one period, it will gain an interest. And you withdraw the interest. The interest of P for one period is P times I. Na? The principal times the interest rate per one period. Okay? Alright. Now, so if you withdraw just the interest, how much fund or money is left in the bank? The same, P. At the end of another period, it will earn another interest, P times I. Okay? Tawagin natin tong A. So, it will earn another interest of A. If you withdraw that, how much money is left in the bank? P. So, ang ibig sabihin, you can withdraw every year an amount of A for infinite number of years, for as long as you are withdrawing just the interest. Then this infinite withdrawals is called perpetuity. So the key equation here is A, the perpetual withdrawal, is P times I. So the present amount, or called the perpetual fund, is equal to A, P, I, or P is A over I. Now, the only thing that you have to remember in this P formula, that the frequency of A dictates the unit of I. If these are quarterly payments or quarterly perpetuities, this must be per quarter compounded quarterly. If these are annual perpetuities, this must be per year compounded yearly. You follow? So, what about this problem? Find the present value in pesos of perpetuity of 15,000 payable semi-annually. Every semi-annual if money is worth 8% compounded quarterly. Ang formula natin is a P. So, dito, your P is going to be equal to A over I. Yung A natin, alam na natin. It's 15,000 payable semi-annually. So, this is per semi-annual or every semi-annual. Okay? Dahil perpetuity yan over infinite period of time. So, ang kailangan nating interest rate ay I per semi-annual compounded semi-annually. Pero ang meron tayo, compounded quarterly. Yung compounding period, hindi yan ma-change ng division by 4 or division by 2. Ang na-change lang ng division yung per period. Paano natin kukunin yung per semi-annual, compounded semi-annually na interest rate? Tawagin ko tong equation 1. Simple. Gagamitin natin yung tinatawag kong 1 peso, 1 year analysis. Doon sa formula natin na F is P times 1 plus I raised to N, your P is piso, your N is 1 year. Kung naka per year, compounded yearly ka. Kung naka quarter, compounded quarterly, yung N mo, 4 quarters. You get it? Okay, tignan nyo. Now, dito, our interest is 8% compounded quarterly. Understood to na 8% per year. Diba? Pag hindi binanggit yung per period, per year yan. Iba yung per year, iba yung per period, iba pa yung compounding period. Sa compound interest rate, dalawa ang unit ng I. Iba yung per period, iba pa yung compounding period. So, gawin natin. Yung P is piso times 1 plus I, this is 8% per year. So, this is 0.08 per year. So, para maging per quarter, divide by 4. So, ito is already per quarter, pero hindi na bago yung given unit ng compounding period. So, this is still compounded quarterly. You get it? And this must be also equal to piso. 1 plus, anong interest rate yung kailangan natin? Per semi-annual compounded semi-annually. So, we need I per semi-annual compounded semi-annually. Hindi ko siya i-divide ng 2. Kasi pag dinivide ko ng 2, edi yung makukuha ko per year compounded semi-annually. Naintindihan? Klaro? So, ang ginawa ko ay na, pero naka-per semi-annual, compounded semi-annually na agad. Naintindihan? Kuha nyo. Okay. Raised to N. Ano yung N? Ito per quarter compounded quarterly, 1 year is 4 quarters. Ito per semi-annual compounded semi-annually, 1 year is 2 semi-annuals. This is one equation in terms of I. You'll be able to solve your I. Kuha nyo? So, let us solve our I. Okay? So, that would be 0.0404. This is per semi-annual compounded semi-annually. Okay? That is now compatible with this one. So, therefore, substituting to equation 1, we will have the present amount or the perpetual fund is A, 15,000 at every semi-annual over 0.0404. And this is going to be 371,287.13. Ito yung ating perpetual fund. Naintindihan? Yan lang yung unit ang kailangan mong bantayan sa API formula. Kuha? Klaro? Okay, sige, kopya. Let's have this number 7. We have a vacant lot, has been leased for 20,000 per year, with an annual increase of 1,500 for 8 years, and with payments at end of each year. What lump sum should be paid today would be equivalent to the 8-year payment if I is 7%. Pag hindi binigay yung interest rate or yung unit ng interest, that is understood to be per year compounded yearly, meaning effective annually or yearly. So, that is compatible with this, with the frequency of these payments. They are end of year payments, na? Okay? Now, the first payment is 20. The second payment is plus 1,005. The third payment is 21,500 plus 1,500 is 23,000. Every year, it increased by 1,500. So, it means that the last payment will be 30,500. So, this is not a uniform annuity. Instead, it is a uniformly increasing annuity. Okay? So, ang tinatanong, how much lump sum today, that is a time 0, tawagin nating P, will be equivalent to this one. So, ito yung original option. Original is, ito, one-time pay, na? Okay? So, magkano daw yung one-time pay ngayon para wala nang intindihin? Okay? So, let's do it. So, ang magiging key equation natin dito simply is the one-time pay future is future of original, no? So, key equation, the future amount of one-time pay must be equal to the future amount of original. And I will choose yung extreme future, which is the end of 8th year. Okay? So, kung dadaling ko to sa end of 8th year, so this is going to be F of one-time pay. So, the end of one-time pay, this is present to future. Di ba ang formula natin dyan, ang future is P times 1 plus I raised to N. Pagka annuity naman A, kopyahin lang to, 1 plus I raised to N minus 1 over I. Kapag ka G naman, kopyahin lang to, 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 over I, then minus n over I. Ito yung mga formula for future amounts. Kuha? Okay? So, ang gagawin lang natin dito, ito, present to future. Okay? So, it is P. Ano yung P nito? Unknown, di ba? So, that is P. Okay? Times 1 plus I, 7%, 0.07 per year, compounded yearly. We don't have any problem with that. Okay? Raised to n, that is 8 years. Okay? Now, is equal to the future nitong original. Pwede nating isa-isahin yan papunta dito. Pero paano kung 80 years yan? Di ba? Ang dami. So, ang gagawin lang natin ganito. We divide this into rectangle and triangle. Notice the rectangle. This is 20,000 every year. Tama? Correct. Now, ito naman, uniform gradient. Look, walang payment sa first year. Nagsisimula sa second year. Then, 2G. Dalawang 1.5. Tatlong 1.5. Which is 4,005. Correct? Then, 4G, 5G, and so on and so forth. Pero, ang time zero nito, ito pa rin. Kaya ang n niya pa rin is 8 years. So, ito annuity, ito gradient. Na? Okay? So, this would be future nung annuity plus future nung gradient at the end of 8 years. So, this one is 1.07 raised to 8 of P. P is missing. Is equal to future ng annuity. Ito yung formula. Ano yung A natin? 20,000 times 1 plus I 0.07 raised to 8 minus 1 over I, which is 0.07 plus, no? Plus yung G. Future ng G is this. Ano yung G natin? 1.5 times 2. 3,000 times 3. 4.5. So, ang G is 1.5, no? 1,500 times 1 plus 0.07 raised to 8 minus 1 over I, 0.07 minus n, 8 over I, 0.07. This is now just one equation in terms of P. You compute this over 1.07 raised to 8, you will be able to solve your P. Paki-calculate. Pag kinalculator mo yan, ang makukuha mong value will be 147,609 pesos. Okay? Rounded off. Nagkaintindihan tayo? Maliwanag? Okay, you may copy. Let us go to depreciation methods, meaning distributing the depreciation into per year method. So, una, we have the straight line method of depreciation. Kaya tinawag na straight line kasi yung plot niya o yung graph, straight line. So, dito, yung book value niya at time 0, which is called the first cost, eto, 8,000 daw. So, a machine costing 8,000 and an estimated life of 10 years with a salvage value of 500. So, at the end of 10 years, the salvage value or book value is 500. Meaning, over a period of 10 years, the total depreciation is 8,000 minus 500. This is 7,500. Right? Ang tinatanong is the book value after 8 years using straight line method. So, kung ito straight line jud. Straight line talaga, no? So, kung ito ay 8,000, ito BV8, this must be 8,000 minus BV8. Ang hinahanap is yung book value at the end of 8 years. So, how do we do that? We can solve yung mode, yung regression function, pero pwede na rin na ratio and proportion, no? So, sa ratio and proportion, we have 8,000 minus BV8 over, eto, this over 8 is equal to 7,500 over 10, no? So, this is 7,500 over 10. Kuha niya? So, therefore, this is going to be equal to what? 2,000? So, therefore, your BV8 is going to be 2,000. Kuha? Maliwanag? Okay, so you may copy. What about the double declining balance method? The book value in the double declining balance method and even in the declining balance method are in geometric progression, meaning there is a common ratio or common multiplier. Let me call the common multiplier or common ratio as R. So, yung R natin sa double declining balance method is 1 minus 2 over N. So, ito yung common multiplier. At year end 0, at time 0, the book value is the first cost, no? And you multiply this by R, that is the book value at the end of first year. You multiply this again by R, FC times R, R squared, that is the book value at the end of second year. So, you multiply this again by R times R, so FC times R squared times R cubed, that is the book value at the end of the third year. Notice, laging parehas ito sa ito. So, therefore, the book value at the end of year M is first cost times R to the M. Kaya dito, ang book value is going to be the first cost times R to the N. Tama? Maliwanag? Okay. Now, yung ating R dito, ulitin ko, is 1 minus 2 over N. Let's have this problem. A company purchased an asset for 10,000, so this is the first cost, and plans to keep it for 20 years, so N is 20. So if I'm going to compute this, this is 1 minus 2 over 20. Pag kinumpute mo to, this is going to be 0.9. No? Okay? Now, ang tinatanong is, if the salvage value is 0 at the end of 20th year, what is the book value at the end of third year using double declining balance method? So, using the double declining balance method, the BB3, it must be the first cost times the common ratio raised to 3. The first cost, of course, is 10,000 as given in the problem, multiplied by 0.9 to the 3. You compute this and you'll get 7,290 pesos. Okay? So, this is the book value at the end of third year. You follow? Okay, you may copy. Okay, let's have the declining balance method. Yung declining balance method saka double declining balance method almost the same in such a way that both of them are having their book value in geometric progression. The common multiplier is R. However, the formula for R will be different. So, for declining balance method, R is the nth root of salvage value over the first cost. So, let me illustrate how to use this. What is the book value of electronic test equipment after 8 years? So, ang hinahanap sa atin ay BV8. BV8 we know is the first cost times the common ratio raised to 8. Okay? Now, yung first cost natin dito, ang sabi dito, from its original value of 120,000, so 120,000 is the original value. So, our first cost is 120,000. Yung ating sabi sa atin, ang salvage value is 10%, 13% in 12 years. 13% of what? it's 13% of the original value of the first cost. So, ang ibig sabihin, pagka sinold natin yung common ratio natin, it will be the nth root. That is, this is salvage value at the end of 12 years. So, this is the 12th root of the salvage value, which is 13% of the first cost over the first cost. So, therefore, our R is the 12th root of 13% or 0.13. No? Okay. So, substituting it here, you'll have here 120,000 times R. Ano yung R? It's the 12th root of 0.13. No? Raised to R raised to M, which is 8. All you need to do is compute this now. Pag kinumpute natin to ngayon, what we will have here will be 30,794.76. This is the book value at the end of 8 period. Kuha niya? Maliwanag tayo? Okay, sige. Kopya. Let us have this problem, no? The first cost of a machine is 1.8 million or 1,800,000 with a salvage value of 0.3 million at the end of its life of 5 years. We are to determine the book value after 3 years using sum of years digit method. Now, in order for us to understand it clearly, let me solve that first using the straight line method. In the straight line method, this is the first cost 1.8 million. At the end of 5 years, the salvage value is 300,000 or 0.3 million. So it means our machine over a period of 5 years has a depreciation o parang nawalan ka ng 1.8 minus 0.3, 1.5 million pesos. But this 1.5 million happens for 5 years. So what we do is we distribute that on an annual basis for annual reporting of the expenses of the company. So this would be divided or distributed equally among 5 years. So this is the share of the first year. This is the share of the second year. This is the share of the third year. This is the share of the fourth year. This is the share of the fifth year. Meaning, the annual depreciation charge or expenses or simply annual depreciation are equal. So, all of them equals 1.5 over 5. Or etong 1.5 na to, dinistribute equally sa kanilang lahat. And the distribution factor is 1 over 5. You get it? Ulitin ko. Basically, what happened to this is that the distribution, the depreciation is the total depreciation DN, which is 1.5, multiplied by the distribution factor. And our distribution factor here is what? 1 over N. Kaya DN over N. You follow? Naintindihan? Now, kapag ka naman yung interest rate i-consider, ang tawag doon ay sinking fund method. Sa sinking fund method, it is something like this. Every year, there is a depreciation, but this time, interest rate is being considered, no? So, this is what actually will happen. So, every year, for n years, there is a depreciation, which if we accumulate for n years, that would be your DN. This is your DN. So, your DN, bali, annuity to future, considering interest rate, is A, which is D, times 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 over I. Kung kukumputin natin ngayon to, yung D natin, your D from this equation is going to be equal to I, taas natin to, over 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. Okay? Times dn. Ito ngayon yung tinatawag na sinking fund deposit factor. So basically, this one is your distribution factor. Maliwanag? Kung sa straight line method, without considering interest, it is merely 1 over n. Here, ang distribution factor mo is I over 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. Maliwanag? Naintindihan? Pero lahat sila, every year, equal pa rin. Kuha nyo? Now, dito naman po sa sum of years digit method, parang ganito yung concept. Para hindi masyadong mabigat ang understanding, gamitin ko na lang tong example, ha? Okay. Now, merong 5 anak. Okay? May 5 anak. Ngayon, yung tatay, merong 1.5 million pesos na ipapamana o i-distribute. Or para medyo mas realistic, mas kapanipaniwala, 1.5 billion pesos. No? Para mas attractive ba? Ngayon, merong 3 anak. May 5 anak. Okay? Isang 10, isang 20, isang 30. Lagyan natin ng 0 para mas maganda, no? Isang 30, isang 40, isang 50 years old. Ngayon, ang sabi ng tatay, I have here 1.5 billion in the bank. I want to distribute it to 5 of you. But I do not know how to distribute it fairly. I need your suggestions. The eldest and the second to the eldest made the suggestion, Dad, this is my suggestion, distribute it according to age. Nag-isip ngayon yung tatay, no? Sabi nung tatay, good idea. I will distribute it according to age. So, happy yung eldest, no? Siyempre, 50 siya, di ba? Siya yung iniisip niya malaking share. Ang sabi ng tatay, pero, babalik ta rin ko. Kasi ikaw, 50 ka na, mas marami kang ginastos kaysa sa kapatid mo na 10 years old. So, ibig sabihin, sabi ng tatay, yung pinakabata ang tatanggap ng pinakamalaki. Baligtad, sabi niya. No? So, ang tanong ko sa inyo ngayon, if age will be the reference, and the youngest will be receiving the biggest share, then how do we distribute the 1.5? The reverse of the year's digit. So, it would be, eto ang reverse niyan, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pero, ang distribution factor must be smaller than 1, di ba? It's a fraction. So, dapat ang total din, pag inad mo, dapat 1.5. Ito yung share sa first year, ito yung share sa second year, ito yung for third year, for fourth year, for fifth year. As you can see, it is decreasing. Now, tandaan nyo dun sa surveying natin, how do we distribute the error? It's always an element over sum of elements. Ito ang ginagamit ko, yung year's digit in reverse. So, dapat, ang divisor nito must be the year's digit in reverse over sum of year's digit. Kaya tinawag to na sum of year's digit dahil ginagamit yung year's digit sa distribution. So, when you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, you will get here 15. Kaya, yung sum of year's digit dito is 15. Okay? So, if we're going to compute the depreciation share at the end of the third year, okay? Pero ang kailangan remember, hindi lang yung depreciation share, kundi yung book value, no? After 3 years. Ito yung third year. Ito yung kailangan natin. This is the book value at the end of third year. So that must be 1.8 million minus D1 minus D2 minus D3. Kuha? So how are we going to solve this? Ito will receive, this one is 515 of this. This one is 415 of this. This one is 315 of this. Naintindihan? Maliwanag. So therefore, yung ating total depreciation D3 is D1 plus D2 plus D3. All of them are fractional part of 1.5 million. So therefore, this is 5 over 15 plus 4 over 15 plus 3 over 15 of the total 1.5 million. Pagka inad nyo to ngayon, no? Inad nyo times 1.5. What you will be getting here is going to be what? Pag sinolve mo to, you'll get 5 plus 4 plus 3. This is going to be 12. No? Tama? So this is going to be 12 over 15 times 1.5. So therefore, this is going to be ilan to? So this is going to be 1.2 million. Okay? So kung ito ay 1.2 million, therefore, lagay ko dito ha, sum of years digit method. So kung ito ay 1.2 million, this one, so therefore, our book value at the end of third year is going to be equal to, how much is this? 1.8 million, the first cost, minus yung total depreciation D1 plus D2 plus D3, it would be minus 1.2 million. So therefore, this is 0.6 million pesos. Naintindihan? Okay, you may copy. Number 12. A manufacturer has the capacity to produce 500,000 units of a product per year. At present, it operates and sells at full, and it has a total income of 720,000. Annual fixed costs are 250,000 and the variable cost per unit is 0.7. We are to calculate the firm's annual profit or loss for this production. So, let us solve it. So, profit is defined as income minus cost. Our income is 720,000 minus our cost. The fixed cost is 250,000 minus the variable cost, that is 0.7 per unit or per piece, times full capacity and full sales, 500,000. So you calculate this, the profit is 120,000. If it so happen that this is negative, meaning the cost is greater than the income, then there is no profit. It's a loss. Do you follow? Maliwanag? Okay, you may copy. Number 13. A new civil engineer produces a certain construction material at a labor cost of 16.20 per piece, material cost of 38.50 per piece, and variable cost of 740 per piece. The fixed charges on the business is 100,000 per month. If he sells the finished product at 95 per piece, how many pieces must be manufactured and sold each month in order to break even. Pag sinabi nating break even, ibig sabihin walang profit. Yung tabla ba? So, if we will add all our unit expenses, the price per piece, the labor, material, the variable cost, if we add this would be 62.10 per piece. Ngayon, the fixed cost or expenses is 100,000 per month and the unit selling price is 95 per piece. Para walang income, the profit is 0, income must be equal to the cost. Yung income natin is 95 pesos per piece times X pieces. Yan yung income. Yung cost natin is the fixed cost, 100,000 plus yung variable cost, 62.10 per piece times X pieces. So, pagka ikaw ay nag-produce ng X pieces and nabenta yung X pieces, the income equals the cost. So, therefore, if you're going to solve for X here, your X will be 39.51 pieces or something like 30-40 pieces. Now, graphically, ganito yung itsura. Itong income 95 times X, kung ang equation mo is Y, the Y is the income, the horizontal is the X, no? The unit that is sold at 95 per piece. So, therefore, when X is 0, Y is 0. Ganito yan. So, ito yung ating income. Ito yung income curve. Tapos, yung variable cost, however, ito, 100,000 plus 62.10. So, at Y is 0, meron ka ng 100,000 agad. This is 100,000. Ito yung variable cost. Pag ganito yung ating cost curve. Now, dito, the cost curve is higher than the income curve. Etong area na to, this is loss area. So, dito sa right, the income is greater than the cost. Eto ngayon yung profit area. At the break-even point, eto yung break-even point, the profit and the cost intersect or they are the same or they are equal. Etong X na to, this one is 30,000 or 3,039.51 pieces. Naintindihan yung break-even point? Importante ito sa business para malaman mo ilan ang kailangan para tabla. Pag alam mo kung ilan ang kailangan para tabla or break-even, so yun yung tatargetin mo na malagpasan para kita. Dahil below that, lugi. Naintindihan? Okay, sige, paki-absorb then, kopya. Let us have this problem. Using a compound interest of 8%, we're asked to find the equivalent uniform annual cost for a proposed machine that has a first cost of 100,000, salvage value of 20,000, meaning the total depreciation over a period of 8 years is equal to 100 minus 20, this is 80,000. So, ang sabi sa atin dito, the annual maintenance will amount to 2,000 a year and periodic overhaul costing of 6,000 each will occur at the end of the second and the fourth year. We're asked here to find the equivalent annual cost. Yung annual cost natin dito is composed of yung mga given na annual, ito, annual maintenance, that is 2,000, right? Okay? So, on annual maintenance, it's 2,000. Dito natin, ha? Tapos, meron tayong periodic maintenance na 6,000 each. Okay? Pero mag-fall yan dito sa second year and sa fourth year. Ito, 6,000 dito, 6,000 dito. Kailangan nating i-convert sa annual. Now, meron tayong formula dito, yung equivalent annual from F equals A times this quantity, or A is going to be equal to IF over 1 plus I raised to N minus 1. Yan yung depreciation formula, right? Okay? So, ang pwede natin gawin, eto, dalhin muna natin sa future, itong dalawang to. So, pag dala mo sa future, yan ngayon yung imumultiply mo nitong quantity na to. Kuha? Para mabalik sa annuity. Para maging annual, no? So, ang pinaka-concept is ganito. Dali natin sila bareha sa future. So, ito yung periodic overhaul, no? So, you have here, dalhin sa future. Yung future nitong 6,000 na to, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 years, di ba? So, di ba yung F is going to be P times 1 plus I raised to N. So, you'll have here this 6,000 times 4 years yan, 1 plus I, 1 plus 0.08 because the interest is 8%. 1.08 raised to 4. Itong 6,000 na to is going to be 6,000 times 1 plus 0.08 raised to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 raised to 6. So, yung future amount natin nito is going to be equal to 17,684.18. Yan yung future nitong dalawang to. Pag kinonvert mo sa annual, so future to annual, you just multiply the future by this quantity. So, yung ating PO is going to be yung ating annual periodic overhaul. Equivalent, no? Periodic overhaul is going to be I 0.08 times 1 plus 0.08 raised to 8 minus 1 times F 17,684.18. So, computing this will be 1,662.57. Okay? So, meron na tayo nito sa ka-equivalent na annual nito. Meron pa. Ang meron pa tayo, di ba, tong 100,000 mo at the end of 8 years, 20,000, nawalan ka ng 80,000. Pagka dinistribute mo yan on an annual depreciation every year, no? So, yung annual depreciation natin is going to be, parang ganito rin. That is D converted to annual. Ito, considering interest rate, is going to be IDN over 1 plus I raised to N minus 1, right? Okay? Katulad nung nakarang example natin. So, this is going to be 0.08 over 1 plus 0.08 raised to 8 minus 1. Okay? Times DN. The DN is 80,000. Okay? So, this is going to be 7,521.18. Okay? So, ito yung makukuha mong D. No? Okay? So, meron pang kulang. Ang kulang pa natin dito, di ba, yung 100,000 mo, pagbili mo ng equipment, bago mo bilhin, nasa bangko yan eh. Nag-i-interest siya ng 8%. Kaya every year, meron kang tinatawag na opportunity cost of capital or also known as minimum required profit. Kasi sa bangko, kumikita yung pera mo ng interest times the principal, which is the first cost. So, 0.08 times 100,000. So, ito is 8,000. Okay? So, pagka inad mo ngayon tong mga to, adding them, this plus this plus this plus this, yan yung equivalent annual cost, uniform annual cost. So, 2,000 plus 8,000, 10,000 plus this, you'll get 19,183.75. Naintindihan? Sige, paki-absorb. In this particular problem, at 8%, find the capitalized cost of a bridge whose cost is 300 million and the life is 20 years, and if the bridge must be partially be rebuilt at a cost of 100 million at the end of each 20 years, meaning after 20 years, you will have to rebuild the bridge. So, to restore it into its original condition. Another 20 years, you have to rebuild it or repair it and restore it to original condition. So that will happen every 20 years in order for the bridge to serve its purpose for a lifetime. Meaning, for infinity. So, pag infinity to, we are talking of perpetuity. Yung tinatawag nating capitalized cost, it is the amount to be invested now or to be put in the bank so that it will take care of its infinite cost. So, alam natin, di ba, yung perpetuity natin, yung formula is a P. So, present amount ng annuity or perpetuity is A over I. Kaso ito every 20 years. Ang gawin natin dito, i-convert lang natin yan into equivalent. Ito. I-convert lang natin to into equivalent annuity. Okay? So, yan. So, ito, convert mo into equivalent annuity para yan ay maging every year. Same thing with this, and so on, and so forth. So, di ba future convert to annuity dahil ang formula natin is F is A times 1 plus I raised to N minus 1 over I. Okay? So, yung A natin dito is going to be F times I over this, di ba? So, you have A is going to be F times I over 1 plus I raised to N minus 1. Tama? Okay? So, ito yung I mo. Pero ang kailangan natin, A over I. Ito yan, no? Correct? Pag ito na-convert na natin sa A, to convert it into present amount or perpetual fund, you divide it by I. So, kung di-divide natin parehas siya by I, divided by I, makakancel lang yung I. Kaya, yung capitalized cost ng periodic amount is going to be simply F over this. So, therefore, yung total natin, yung capitalized cost, the total is going to be 300 million plus F. Ito. Yung periodic. So, that is 100 million over 1 plus I 0.08 raised to N. Ito is every 20 years, no? So, raised to 20 minus 1. You just compute this and you'll get your capitalized cost. Maliwanag? So, pagka kwinenta mo to, what you will have will be 327.3 million pesos. Kuha niya? Maliwanag. Naintindihan yung capitalized cost. Ito yung i-deposit mo sa bangko ngayon, pero syempre, kailangan lalabas mo rin naman yung 300 million. So, ang kailangan mo lang talaga is yung 27.3 million. I-deposit mo ngayon, pero ilabas mo na yung 300 million. Yung 27.3 million, it will take care of the 100 million every 20 years. Maliwanag? Naintindihan? Okay, you can copy.